Hello, 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 and welcome to the latest installment of And Sarah Appeared. My name is Sarah, and I'm appearing before you right now because I was on IG and I went through a scroll and I saw on my timeline, I guess that's what you call it, but I saw on my timeline there was a comedian that I follow. His name is TK Kirkland, and really funny, really wise comedian. And he was talking about how a man should check you on your hair, your appearance, your discipline, your self respect, and bettering yourself because that is how a man shows that he has wisdom. And that's also how he shows that he ultimately cares for you and loves you. And I don't think that there was anything wrong with that. Now, obviously, he had to throw a disclaimer out there. His disclaimer that he threw out there was, with that being said, there are going to be people who are going to take this a different type of way. They're not going to understand what I'm saying. They're not going to understand that I'm not saying that a man needs to come in and control every facet of your life. You may already have these things instilled in you and already be operating or know all of these things, maybe from your upbringing, maybe from life experiences, maybe a previous partner taught you this, or maybe it's just something in you that you just naturally acted on. And going into he had to give a disclaimer, if this already applies, I'm not talking to you. But going into it, looking at the comment section, there was a lot of like hoorah talking about this is misogyny and this is this and this is that. And I didn't pick that up from the post. And I'm not being biased just because I follow the guy, but I didn't pick up misogyny from that post. That's not what I picked up. You have to understand. Now, also, TK Kirkland, he African American, he black. And some of the people who were screaming misogyny were not black. Actually, I don't know if they were, if they were white, Latin, I'm not sure, but they were non-black. And they were non-black women of color. And so they were talking about, hey, this is misogynist. You don't need anyone telling you this, that, and the third. And I think they completely didn't understand. Some women are not bad women, but they just don't have those qualities that TK was talking about with the, with the outer appearance or how they come out outwardly. Not because they don't care, but because they didn't have anyone who cared for them. That's the secret. And you have to care about yourself. You do. Self-love is mandatory. It's critical. It's foundational. But here's the thing. At the end of the day and at the beginning of the sentence, you have to be open to allowing love to come into your life, and you have to be open to knowing that you don't know everything. That sometimes love can come into your life and you can learn through the love and through the adventure of love that you go through. And it's very important that you do have love come into your life. It's very important that you do accept in the way in which somebody loves. And I think what TK was saying was, if a man really does love you, not only does if he loves you, but if he has the wisdom to love you, then he's going to see a vision for you that you may not be able to see for yourself. But because he has that love, that kindness, that care for you, what he's going to be able to do is he's going to be able to cultivate and mold that into something that you couldn't fathom because you never had experienced anybody giving a damn. That's what he was actually talking about. It's not about somebody trying to puppet string you or control you or somebody being a misogynist. No, it's like, and it's wrong to use misogyny as an analogy for that, because it's no different than, okay, if a woman was on a job and, or no, if a woman was in the home, excuse me, she was in the home, and if her husband was working on a job and her husband injured himself, well, if she loves him, she gonna go back into the workforce so that she can support him, right? She goes back into the workforce, she goes to support him, but her taking on this role now where she's now the breadwinner is not her being a feminist and saying, I don't need or want my husband's money or help because I can do it on my own. It's her supporting him and telling him, I don't want you to go back to work until you're fully healed. I don't want you to rush it. I don't want you to cut corners. I know what you're used to. I know how you're used to providing and holding things down, but I don't want that. I don't want you to do that. I want you to get completely healed. I want you to be healthy and watch me hold down the fort until we're able to come back together and do things. And people want to jump to conclusions and throw these things out here. Also, TK was getting back kind of in the comments. He's like, I usually don't say anything, but he got in the comments and he was like telling some of the female counterparts, this is how I know you don't have anyone who cares for you. Look at your pictures. Look at how you present yourself online. Look at how you are looking. Look at what you are presenting outwardly to everyone. This is how I know this is not, you don't have anyone who cares about you, or if you did, you might have run them off. And I understand what he's saying, because if you grew up with any kind of male figure, or even if you just grew up in a single parent home and it was just your mom in the home and they tell you do this, do that, and they're getting on you about your appearance, or they're telling you about what you should do, or they're telling you about what needs to happen, when they are expressing that to you, they're not doing it because they're trying to be harsh or critical. They're doing it because it may be called tough love, but they're doing it because you represent them. And they're also doing it because they love you enough to not have you out here just looking and being any kind of way. And with that, you have to have the grace, but you also have to have the humility to be able to say, okay, let me go ahead and listen to what this person has to say. Let me listen to what's going on with this person, because I've never experienced this in my life before. Or this person is bringing a different perspective. This person's bringing a completely different perspective in my life that I never have welcomed or was taught to reject. Some of us have grown up in homes where it's been predominantly feminine. And with that, there are ideals that go out there about the opposite sex. Even in male groups and male dynamics, there are some toxic ideals that go out there about women, that are seeds that are planted in the minds of young men, seeds that are planted in the minds of young women. So when we go to commingle and have contact with each other, we have preconceived notions that we're meeting each other with. We're meeting each other with all of these, thought patterns and thought forms, and we're automatically subconsciously judging the other person instead of allowing things to kind of organically to come together. It's not until we really get into it with that person to where we go, okay, well, this is different from what mama them said, this is different from what uncle them said, this is a completely different experience. What is it that I can cultivate, get out of this, learn from this, grow within this? Because this is different from what my background has showed me and taught me. So with that, I also wanted to go into some of the things that I've noticed that can block you from not being able to receive that love, One, we're going to go into some of those things are of the carnal man, meaning some of those things are you. There are some things that you do that block love from coming into your life. One of the things that you could do that blocks love from coming into your life is not dropping the preconceived notions. When you have a preconceived notion about somebody, that kind of opens an avenue up for pride, because now you think you know everything that you need to know about that person. It covers up the avenue for pride. Two, a preconceived notion can also plant a seed of fear. Fear can be rooted in a preconceived notion. If you already think you know what the end all be all is in a situation, or who somebody already is in a situation, then you can already decipher how you want to move with that person, how you're not going to move with that person. It can be fear, you know? Another thing, going on the metaphysical sides of things, there can be energies and forces that are around you that want to hinder love from coming into your life. You've got to be able to pray, meditate, fast, whatever it is that you do. There's a lot of different, techniques. There's a lot of different spiritual tools that you can use to kind of void you of all of these things that try to come and attack your love. One of them is isolation. There's good isolation, there's bad isolation. Bad isolation keeps you alienated from people, places, or things. Good isolation allows you to go within and have introspection. Bad isolation says you're cutting yourself off from people who could literally love you back to life. Another metaphysical tactic, misunderstanding and miscommunication, or a veil of being misunderstood. You may have a veil of misunderstanding on you that needs to be snatched off in the realm of the spirit. That veil of misunderstanding can allow you to not only misunderstand who you are as a person, but it will also allow you to be misunderstood. And you're not even aware, like, okay, I didn't know I was giving off this signal, or I was coming across as this, or this, that, and the third. It being misunderstood and misunderstanding yourself, it breeds a lack of self-awareness, which is extremely dangerous, because if you are not aware of who you are and what you stand in and what you operate in, what will happen is you'll end up offending people, because you're not going to be able to appropriately cater to their needs. You're not going to be able to appropriately be there for them. You're going to be constantly missing the mark with people that are detrimental to your livelihood, detrimental to the livelihood of your love. Another thing, TK was talking about attractiveness. Being attractive is important. Being an intellectual is important as well, but men are visual, physical creatures. They like things that are attractive. They like things that are shiny. They like things that look appealing. And that's not shallow. I'm sorry, but sometimes society will give you a double standard. Society will be completely fake. Society will say you are shallow because you are into your appearance and you're into this and you're into that. That's not being shallow. That's a type of alchemy. Nobody gravitates, even insects, they gravitate towards the most attractive plant, the most vibrant plant, the most in bloom plant. They gravitate towards it. And so that's the same thing with the man. And what TK was saying was, if a man cares about you, he's going to care about the way your appearance comes across, because you're not just representing him, but it's also an extension of him showing how much he cares for you. Now, one thing that did go out there was one woman in the comments was saying that this kind of behavior coming from men will allow a woman to lose herself. If a man, in my opinion, is operating in these characteristics, but there's no physical, verbal, or financial abuse involved in what he's implementing in your life, then that's not gonna make you lose yourself. That's not control. That is a type of love. If a man is implementing all of these things and he's also implementing abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, spiritual abuse, financial abuse, then at that point you will lose yourself, because you don't know what love is, you don't know what love should be, and someone is gaslighting you, telling you this is what true love is. When you love people, it's gonna be, painful, or it's gonna come with pain, or it comes with this, that, and the third. And it's like, no, that's not what love is. That's not how love works. That's not how you receive love. And a lot of women are conditioned and groomed into receiving love in a way that is an avenue for them to lose themselves. You're not allowed to have a voice. You're not allowed to have a mind. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're not worthy of any of those things. You just are supposed to be a doll that someone carries around, primed and polished and perfect. And that's what it is. And I don't know. I listened to this post that he had, and I didn't get misogyny out of it. I didn't get misogyny. I got clarity, but I also got somebody who had common sense. I think the people who scream misogyny, male or female, from this type of post are people who are used to someone being in their corner. They're used to someone showing them love, and they take it for granted and they just toss it to the side. But when you're someone who hasn't received that love, hasn't received that support, never has had anyone speak into your life positively in that way, you're not going to be grateful for it. You're going to be grateful for it when you haven't received it. You're not even going to know what to do. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got exactly what I needed. And I'm on a path, and I have somebody who has my back, who's going to let me know this, that, and the third. And it's like, that's real love. When someone is able to let you know in a stern but loving way, things need to change. And then they help you implement it. And a real man has the wisdom to cultivate any woman that he enters into a relationship with. Bye for now.